On this edition of Oxford News this week, the village debates a memorial and a tennis player returns to the tennis court with some challenges. This and more on this edition of Oxford News this week. The Oxford Village Council discussed plans for a memorial for the 4 students that were killed on the 30th of last year, November, shooting into the budget workshop this past Wednesday. The council set aside $7,000 to $8,000 in the park's budget for a memorial to be installed in the Scripter Park area. The memorial will be used to consist of 4 trees along with benches, a boulder, and a plaque. Council member Maureen Helmuth suggested Scripter Park as the memorial location. Helmuth said she imagined the materials like the benches and boulders could be donated and that the memorial would be dedicated in a small ceremony consisting of the affected families and the police officers that were in response to the shooting. Councilmember Allison Kemp considered placing the memorial village alongside the Pollyant Trail. Though Scripter Park did win out in the long run, the assumption is that it's a more active park. Among the two, Councilmember Ashley Ross argued to budget more funds so the village would have not only to rely too much on donations, that the original budget amount was $4,000 to $5,000 range. No vote was held on the memorial idea, though work on the project could begin as early as fall. Other council business voted 3-2 to maintain operating millage at 11.2 mils. There was a debate over raising the rate to pay for the infrastructure projects like water line replacements and repairing roads, as well as lowering the rate due to incoming marijuana revenues and easing the burden from the general rise in prices. The decision to maintain the rate came up and it was being at an inopportune time to raise rates, and that it would be too much to hassle to raise the rate back to 11.12 mils if it was lowered now. Helmuth and Ross voted against maintaining the rate. The Truth in Taxation hearing will occur on May 10th at the regular council meeting. The council considered adding a K-9 program to the Oxford Village Police, ultimately deciding not to pursue the training for one. A dog was made available to the village from Officer Tim Ellis, who was as a village funded the dog training. Reasons for rejecting the program included questions over the dog's ability to pass training and the program's cost. The Oxford Village Police uses the dogs from other agencies when search and rescue are needed and animal is required. A series of burglaries occurred between April 15th and 16th in the neighborhood of West Drainer Road in the Oxford Township. According to the reports of the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, at least 3 calls were made regarding the burglaries. One incident on the Dakota Court involved a burglary entering a garage and stealing several wrenches from a toolbox, as well as sunglasses and a $300 gift card from an unlocked car parked in the garage while the resident was away. Another Dakota Court resident had an unlocked car broken into, several items stolen in that vehicle. A vehicle belonging to an Iroquois Trail resident was targeted by the thief as well. Though there's information from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, it does not indicate whether the car was locked. No evidence from the 3 incidents points toward a suspect as of yet, though deputies were provided security footage from the Dakota Court home, and all 3 incidents are under investigation. A civil lawsuit has been filed on the behalf of the slain student Hannah St. Juliana. Family Thursday, April 14th, accused the Oxford Community Schools of perpetrating a cover-up in the aftermath of the November Oxford High School shooting. Filed by attorney Michael Pitt, the lawsuit argues Oxford High School staff knew the shooter was suicidal or homicidal, but released him back to the class. Defendants named in the case action: former Superintendent Tim Throne, Superintendent Ken Weaver, Oxford High School Principal Stephen Wolf, Oxford OCES Dean of Students Nicole Ijek, and Oxford Counselor Sean Hopkins. The St. Juliana lawsuit is the 4th civil suit filed against the Oakland County Schools, or the Oxford school system. The first suit was filed in December of 2021 by then Jeffrey Feiger on behalf of the students Bella and Riley France, followed by January 22 by Ben Johnson on behalf of Tate Meir family. The third lawsuit was filed on February 2022 by Robert Giroux on behalf of the students John Asciuto, Anthony Asciuto, and Marco Vaccaro. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel restated the intention to conduct an independent review of the Oxford High School actions following the meeting with the parents at the Legacy Center on Tuesday, the 19th of April. Nessel initially called the review in December 2021 and expects the district to respond to her latest request at no later than May 20th. Oxford Township Treasurer Joe Ferrari recently earned a Certified Public Funds Investment Manager certificate from the Association of Public Treasurers of the United States and Canada. The nationally recognized Certified Public Funds Investment Manager certification program is designed to provide Treasury professionals with knowledge to better manage investments on behalf of their municipalities. To earn the CPFIM certification, individuals must participate in a 6-hour certification training program, successfully pass 70 questions exam on the following training objectives, components, and identifying and understanding investment options, how and where to buy investments, establishing internal controls and developing procedures, identifying and mitigating risk in the portfolio, quantifying and reporting safety measures, understanding liquidity needs and yield calculations, managing and forecasting investments, and implementing monitoring strategy. The CPFIM is awarded to approximately 125 individuals annually. In order to maintain the certification, recipients must demonstrate continued investment training through reapplication process every 5 years. Congratulations to Joe Ferrari. Yes, finances. The North Oakland Transportation Authority, NOTA for short, is a big part of a lot of seniors' lives in the area. Also, Anna's life, and she relies on the local service to transport her to her job, to the grocery store, and to medical appointments. Since 2001, NOTA has been offering door-to-door transportation for senior citizens age 60 and older, individuals with disabilities and or developmental problems, low-income earners living in the Oxford, Addison, and Orion townships, as well as villages of Oxford, Leonard, and Lake Orion. Last year, NOTA provided well over 34,619 rides. The majority of those rides were for work, 15,728 to be exact. Medical appointments hit 8,190, and shopping excursions, 4,986. Driving the riders are appointments and doctors and physical therapists, dialysis treatments, senior centers, church services, grocery stores, school counseling appointments, therapy sessions, jobs, work training. Again, a very valuable service in the area. Oxford Orion Fish Food Pantry as well are one of the stops for NOTA. Oxford Township and Village residents accounted for 45.5% of all riders, NOTA's rides in 2021. To learn more about NOTA, please check out their website. You can actually fill out an application. I did for my parents. Visit ridenota.org or call 248-693-7100. That's 248-693-7100. Again, we definitely congratulate NOTA on all their accomplishments. We also say thank you for the service they provide to the community. Oakland County is getting ready to host its hazardous waste collection. Well, actually, they did host it this past weekend, and at the Oakland County event, it was held at Telegraph Road, 1200 North Telegraph, Pontiac. They were collecting tires, explosive radioactive waste, fire-on containing items and refrigerators, compressed gas cylinders, barbecue-sized propane tanks. Hard to believe it. You probably have a few of those around. Fire extinguishers. Again, they did collect all that. That's all part of the hazardous waste program. All the liquids must be in containers when you're doing such a thing. There will be signs on the campus when dropping things off. Again, this was sent to us prior. No Haz collection is free to Oxford and Orion townships, villages of Oxford and Lake Orion residents. Again, I'm sure they're going to be having more of that in the near future. Again, they're always having those drop-off situations and the things that we have around our house, the hazardous waste. The next probably best way to find out when the next event is, visit www.nohaz.com. That's all part of Oakland County. Always a good service. I think they used to do that out in Addison as well. Members of the American Legion Post, Walter Fraser Post 108 family all are around town this past weekend distributing poppies and collecting donations. That's always a sign of spring when they have their annual fundraiser. They were out and about this past Friday and Saturday, and donations are used to support veterans, military in the community, and their families. Money raised through the poppy donations go towards various programs put on by American Legion Post 108, including annual eye clinics, the post annual police and fire appreciation dinner, scholarships and youth programs like Boys State and Girls State. Poppies have been used as symbols in the support of the veterans since, hard to believe, way back at World War I. With that, Dave Kenny and myself, I'll have some sports. I'll close the news out. Terry Stiles off today. We'll be right back in just a moment with more Oxford News This Week. Don't go away.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. Mazda confirmed that its trademark rotary engine will return this fiscal year in a plug-in hybrid version of the MX-30 subcompact crossover bound for the U.S. The rollout makes good on a promise long in the making to resurrect the blade-twirling power plant after retiring the technology with the discontinued RX-8 sports car back in 2012. The rotary plug-in version of the MX-30 will debut in the second half of the current fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023. It'll be introduced in the US and Japan in sequence, a spokesman said. The engine won't turn the wheels directly, however. It will act as a generator to recharge the battery. The battery will power an electric motor that drives the MX-30 just like a full electric vehicle. The rotary revival is part of Mazda's multi-solution approach to electrification. The MX-30, which went on sale in 2020, can accommodate a range of drivetrains. A full EV is on sale in the US, Canada, Europe, Japan, and Australia, and a mild hybrid version is available in Japan and Australia. The rotary plug-in addresses complaints that the range of the full EV version is lackluster. The electric MX-30 for Europe and Japan uses a relatively small 35.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery and a 105 kilowatt electric motor. In Europe, the range is rated at just 124 miles on the worldwide harmonized light vehicle test procedure standard. Mazda pitches the rotary engine as an optimal match for an electrified drivetrain in regions where there is clean power source and a suitable recharging network. The rotary engine has long been Mazda's bragging point since the company became the first to market the technology in 1967 in the Cosmosport Mazda S110. Mazda prowess with the rotary engines was heralded with the 787B race car, which won the 24 Hours of Le Mans endurance race in 1991, the only victory for a Japanese brand or a car with a rotary engine. Mazda retired the rotary engine with the RX-8 in 2012 amid slumping sales. But in 2013, it revived the technology in a prototype form as a gasoline-powered 0.33-liter range extender in the Mazda 2 hatchback reconfigured to run on an electric motor. Good luck with that. And in our next story, Tesla Incorporated is recalling about 48,000 Model 3 performance vehicles in the U.S. because they may not display the speedometer while in track mode, documents released Friday show. The recall covers vehicles from the 2018 through 2022 model years, and Tesla will perform an over-the-air software update to address the issue. Tesla said a firmware update released in December unintentionally removed the speed unit from the user interface. Over the last year, Tesla has been issuing more recalls, including some under the pressure from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. We're going to have some results of our baseball and softball games coming up, but we want to pay attention to a sport we used to cover, and where you can also, I'm going to throw a shout out. If you think you want to be a broadcaster, feel free to come up here sometime and maybe do a volunteer, and maybe we can catch some of the other spring sports. And some of the most abysmal weather of the last few weeks, we've seen the tennis team go to action. The Oxford High School girls tennis team swept the Southfield Arts and Technology Warriors at Oxford High School. That was on Thursday, April 14th. And I remember we were covering a baseball game that day, and it was quite cold. Fighting the strong winds in their fourth win in the season, the majority of the sets in the match were dominated by Oxford players. They went 6-1, 6-0. 11th grader Olivia Clark singles match went 2-7, 6-2, and 10-7, while the 10th grader Jenna Miller singled match at 6-0 and 6-4. So far, the team has won nearly all of its matches, beating Holly and Auburn Hills, Avondale, in addition to Thursday win over Southfield. The team lost against Rochester on the 6th of April in the April 8th contest against Lake Orion. It was rained out. 12th grader and captain Kylie Osage made her season debut playing doubles alongside fellow 12th grader Jackie Adema. Osage was injured on the November 30th shooting. She had the longest stay in the hospital, and of the victims being released on December 7th. It's hard to believe that she's even able to walk. Adema and Osage pair win 6-0 in both sets. Their match with the winning record in the upcoming league match against Ferndale Eagles. Bailey plans for the season is to focus on playing solid tennis, foregoing bonds between the teams. Team bonding will come in the form of non-practice events like goat yoga, spa days, and team dinners. The Oxford High School girl varsity tennis team takes on Ferndale at the Oxford tennis courts. That game will be played again. It's already played. We will have results on that next week. They will be on the road for the next 2 days in Farmington, and again, we'll have results on these contests next week. We're also going to have results on our softball and baseball. Becky Van is helping me out considerably with that. That's Oxford Sports. We'll be back to close it all out. I think Dave Kenny's got another segment. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. It's one small step for mannequin and one giant leap for womankind. Mannequins designed to represent female bodies will be sent into space for the first time on NASA's Artemis 1 mission later this year to study how radiation affects women in space. NASA aims to send the first female astronaut to the moon as part of its planned series of Artemis space flights. The first mission, Artemis 1, will be an uncrewed test flight of the Orion spacecraft, which will head beyond the moon and back to Earth over 4 to 6 weeks. Some female organs are particularly sensitive to radiation, putting women at a greater risk of cancer caused by radiation than men. Powerful radiation is abundant in space, but all previous studies of radiation have been on mannequins with a male form, such as the Matryoshka mannequin that was on the International Space Station in 2004. The effects on non-CIS male astronauts, including women and trans men, are less well understood. Thomas Berger at the German Aerospace Center in Cologne and his colleagues have designed a pair of mannequins to mimic female torsos and the organs within. The mannequins, named Helga and Zohar, have radiation sensors placed on the sensitive areas such as the locations of organs. Zohar will wear a radiation blocking vest built by the Israeli Space Agency, where Helga will be vestless. The Artemis mission is the starting mission for going back to the moon, so in this sense it's a perfect mission to do this experiment, says Berger. You get baseline data from the radiation load on a human female would receive while flying in a spacecraft which is actually built for humans. The two mannequins will each contain 5,600 passive radiation sensors, tiny crystals that count the cumulative radiation dosed over the course of the mission. They will also contain dozens of battery-powered sensors to provide time-stamped snapshots of the radiation experience at certain points in the trip. Researchers can then build a 3D image of the radiation exposure over the course of a spaceflight for each mannequin to see which parts of the body might be particularly vulnerable. When experiments are related to things where there is a difference in sexes, we need to be sure that we have sex disaggregated data, says Libby Jackson at the UK Space Agency. Most astronauts who have traveled are male. Female astronauts are less well represented, and they are all less well represented in the mannequin experiments that have been done. Berger and his team hope to see how both the cosmic background radiation and solar radiation might affect astronauts. But the latter will depend partly on how active the sun is during the Artemis 1 trip. Even if the sun doesn't produce significant solar flares during the flight, Berger says that exiting and re-entering Earth's Van Allen radiation belts, which trap ionizing particles similar to those ejected from the sun, could mimic the effects of a solar flare. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
With that, another edition of Oxford News this week has come to a conclusion. Yes, yours truly, Jim Hughes, with you. Terry Stiles Officer will be back next week, I would imagine. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum, Charter 191, Channel 99, AT&T U-verse, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook's, YouTube, wherever, we're everywhere, okay? You can even download the Roku app and watch OCTV programming. OCTV is available if you have a group that wants to produce a public service announcement, or maybe you have a show idea, maybe something that you've been thinking about and you're like, hey, you know what? That'd be a great show. Feel free to come on down to our office, 248-628-9658. I know we do need volunteers sometimes to man the cameras or even maybe be a broadcaster in some of the sporting events. Again, contact our office. That's your easy outlet to find out more, 248-628-9658. With that, thanks to Joe Hewitt for editing it. Thanks to Dan Weiss behind the operation, getting us all underway. Thanks to Hollywood for getting us set up on the teleprompter. On behalf of Terry Stiles, everybody here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes. Have a great week. You've been watching Oxford News this week. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next week, everyone.